Karen.
Hi, Mike.
For
How
all
are
these
you?
people that came to see you.
Can you let us know if you might be activating the window for Mac Collins?
That won't happen today. No.
Mike, just a thought on your team, 8-0 on the road. What kind of things did you learn about your team as a group that you could take into any road game, such as one like this?
We played a lot of different environments, and you got to take care of the football. You're going to have to try to find a way to, win in critical situations at the end of the half, at the end of the game, whether that's 5 minute or, I just think back to, defensively getting stops in Miami. We made a critical kick. Tampa Bay, we executed at the end of half, and certain situations, 5 minute in New Orleans. So I think each game kind of has its own story, but you better take care of the football, especially in Denver.
Mike, following that up a little bit, what characteristics do players have to take that mentality on the road and be successful on the road?
I think we try to preach it through, the entire off season and being able to establish an identity that travels, overcoming, mistakes that happen in the game, which there always are. And I think that you have to be resilient. There's going to be some swings and momentum. You're going to have to be able to handle the environment offensively and not put yourself in bad situations because, your operation isn't very good. So there's a lot of things that we try to practice, knowing that we're going to have to play half of our games on the road. I would anticipate him being out there probably in a limited capacity, but just working his way through protocol.
Like the Broncos allowed a season low, a league low, 23 sacks. What makes them so good?
The quarterback gets it out. They do a nice job with moving the pocket and different throws and not just standing back there. I think Sean and his staff has done a great job of, finding the balance of when to throw in the pocket and, 7-man protection sometimes on third down. And, and then again, when they don't, they block them. They do a nice job of blocking them on the edges and, they try to stay firm in the middle.
Go back and look at Stidham's preseason stuff, or do you just kind of stick with what they do offensively and figure he'll do the same stuff?
Again, he's got, the snaps that he has, the 400 so snaps that are, in regular season action. And then they have a lot of snaps on what they want to do. We'll have to be prepared for the plan and the things that they've shown. I'm sure there'll be some things that they haven't shown. He's more than capable to go out there and operate. And it's why he's a backup and one that was coveted around the league.
How much did you tap into Josh's knowledge of him? Obviously, you started about games for Josh in Vegas about, hey, this is what he likes, this is what he doesn't like.
I think every week we try to use every resource that we have at our disposal. Josh coached him a couple years ago, so anything that we have that we can use to help us, we'll try.
Mike, you've been big on that no naps message this year. How do you make sure your defense doesn't take a nap against the backup quarterback who has play clock?
I think this is a pretty motivated group. I just think to try to continue to play together with the speed that they have the last couple weeks, and I'm confident that they'll remain excited and ready to go.
Mike, you brought in Ashton Grant for this season as your quarterbacks coach. I'm wondering what you've seen from him, how he's developed Drake, and did you cross paths with him in Cleveland last year?
Yeah, I worked with Ashton in Cleveland. I've got to evaluate him every day and what he did in Cleveland. And, I think it's a good balance between him and Josh, and, Josh was really excited for us to be able to add. Ashton was in on those interview processes that we had for the quarterback coach. And, I think Ashton really fit his vision that he had. First year in the system, it's going to be, Josh is going to have a heavy role in that. But also, I'll go in there and Ashton will be meeting with these guys situationally. And, I think it is a good balance between him and Josh and how long Josh has done it and maybe the newness and the youngness of Ashton is a nice little balance.
Like Mac Hollins practice today?
No, I would not anticipate. Karen, you just have to talk louder so they hear your question. I would not anticipate Mac being out there.
Mike, you're not afraid to jump in drills from time to time with the guys. Is there a part of you as a player who's played in big games like this? Is there a part of you that deep down misses the physicality of the sport?
Nope. Nope. Every day I wake up, I'm glad that I don't have to practice or play.
Mike, considering going back to Milt Williams, the decision to sign him, identifying him as a potential main piece here in the defense, can you talk about that early thought of going after him, and then now that he's been here, I'm assuming he's met all expectations, if not more.
Again, you try to, free agency is always funny. We knew we needed to supplement the roster and targeted some guys, got some guys, didn't get some guys. And, was excited to add Milt, the person, quality person. And, I think the play speaks for itself. We have high expectations for everybody, but certainly Milt. And, it's good to have him back out there, and it's helped in a lot of phases, a lot of areas in the run game. It had some really nice plays last week and affecting the quarterback. And we talked about on the interception return that his push kind of started it, knocking the guy back into the tight end. So, we'll need everybody, including Milt. We'll need their best efforts this week. And, again, that's kind of where it went last year. And, you target guys, and some guys you get, some guys you don't.
Mike, when you're dealing with rookies and younger players who maybe aren't used to the bright lights of the stage of an AFC championship, how do you prepare them? Do you rely on some veterans to talk with younger guys?
I mean, they're 2 more games experienced in the playoffs than they were 2 weeks ago. So, just try to play well and prepare and enjoy it.
Mike, is there anything different that you're doing here
turnovers.
this week, preparing for the altitude, and as it pertains to special teams as well? Anything that changes your game plan heading into Sunday?
Well, I'm sure we'll have to figure out how far Andy can kick with the altitude, and then, just being good with where we're going to put the kickoffs. And, Marcus is going to have to adjust where he aligns based on where the ball travels. And, but I'm confident that everybody's going to be ready to go. And, hopefully we can force him to punt and give Marcus some opportunities.
Loud enough on that one. For Drake, in these last 2 games, he's had a few turnovers. How do you go about just addressing that with him and working on ball security, especially against now facing Denver?
Same way I do all the time. So just, we have to be able to not get careless with the football. We can't be reckless. And a lot of it is operation. I mean, we had 2 turnovers where, we all weren't on the same page. And not only is it, that's, you could have a negative play if you don't have everybody on the same page, but even worse, you lose the football. Or if you don't have somebody on the same page and they blitz, somebody gets hurt. So, those are the things we talk about when we're not on the same page. So I think the operation is going to be critical.
Like, understanding every season, every team is different. Are there any lessons you took from 6 years ago leading a team on the road into the AFC Championship game that might help you this week or on Sunday?
No, I just, you're going to have to do what we talked about. You're going to have to be able to execute in some critical situations, some third downs. There's going to be some third downs that we're going to have to convert. And it's going to be some stops that we're going to have to be able to make. And then I think the turnovers and taking advantage of your scoring opportunities in the red zone.
Mike, when you're messaging the players, do you lean into the opportunity of now in the AFC Championship game, or do you try to keep things fairly similar to what you've done throughout the course of the season?
I think it's similar to what we've done. It's focus on, what we want the team to try to do, and then offensively, defensively, and special teams, things that we think are important. Go about practicing them and making sure that everybody's ready. First and second down today, we'll get third down tomorrow, on and on into the red zone. So, we just have to again, I'm focused on embracing the preparation and enjoying this entire experience.
What did her pass rush so talented, other than the obvious?
They're good. I mean, they're good. They got speed rushers. Zach Allen, I think, led the league in quarterback hits, and he's as athletic of a player inside as you'll find. And that's a tough combination when he's coming inside and then they can't step up. And, you know, Benito and Coop, they keep coming. And they do a nice job blitzing. I mean, Vance does a nice job blitzing, but they have good personnel. And then when they don't, you know what I mean, they get the different pressures. So, you know, we'll have to be ready for the base guys that are in there and then any pressures that are going to come off of it.
What have you seen? Is there a need to work against the silent count or extra pressure in trying to deal with that crowd noise and get everybody on the same page this week? Have you dealt with it much this year?
I mean, we've worked a silent count. We've worked a silent count, you know, throughout the season. We've worked it when we weren't necessarily going on the road, just trying to figure that we would need to. You know, we went through that stretch of home games, you know, so I can, you know, there were games that we were just focused on saying, hey, let's just do it today just to work on it so that we can have it when we need it, and then we'll certainly need it this week.
I can't speak for everyone on the roster, but do you get the feeling that the team enjoys playing on the road?
I mean, probably when we win, they enjoy it. Yeah, I enjoy it too.
Like, your defensive tackles made a lot of impact. Have made a lot of impact plays during the playoffs. Can you speak to performance of that group, and also it's allowed you to be more flexible schematically now that they're healthier?
I mean, I don't think the schematics of it really change much. I think that, you know, we have high expectations. You know, our best players have to play good, but I think that the Durdens, the Lenny T's, the Tongas, you know, those guys stepping in have really done a nice job, and you know, so we have to continue to get some impact from that group, you know, like we have the last couple weeks. Thank you.
What's going on? Karen, how are you?
Have you ever thrown a football in altitude? And if not, has anyone given you any tips of what to expect?
Yeah, no, I haven't thrown it out to before. I've never really been to Colorado or to a place with altitude that I've thrown a football at, but I think there is some adjustment to it. I think, you know, feeling out in warm-ups and seeing how what the deep ball is like, or kind of what the altitude does. I think the biggest thing is just for us, just kind of fatigue-wise. I think we'll try to get a feel for it in warm-ups, and I know it's a little different, but I know a lot of teams play out there all the time, so we'll have a adjustment. And just for me, just feeling out in warm-ups, maybe throw a few extra deep ones, see how it is, and I think it'll be pretty cool. Get a few extra yards on a deep ball. You can always use that.
Have you ever used a silent count before? And if so, what are some of the unique challenges to using a silent count as opposed to?
You know, use a silent count every road game. Really, I think every road game this season we've used it. So just, you know, I think the loudness of the stadium for this week will be different than what we've kind of heard, just because of the AFC Championship at a road opponent that has had history of, you know, winning Super Bowls and playing in playoff games and has a great team. So it'll be the magnitude of the noise will be probably something we haven't, you know, seen this year yet. But, you know, silent count's something we've been working all year, and we've been in Buffalo and Baltimore, you know, using silent counts where it's tough to, you know, hear in the huddle and tough for the O-line to hear me. So we just go on silent, and we've done a good job.
I know that you guys have had a lot of success on the road this season, but do you enjoy playing on the road?
I think playing on the road is one of the coolest things of, you know, coming off the field at their place with, you know, screaming fans and coming out with a win. I think it's pretty cool to celebrate and celebrate in a away locker room that's different. And Coach has always been saying road warrior, so we're trying to, you know, find that one more time and finish out strong what we've done this year. And we got a tough job and a tough challenge, but I think the guys will be pumped up and ready for it.
It seems as though people from high school days, college days now, everyone describes you as a nice guy until score is being kept. Do you feel like you flip a switch when it comes to competition? Like, how would you describe that dichotomy?
Yeah, I try not to flip a switch. I think anytime that, you know, the score is being kept, you want to win. And I've tried that to keep that same mentality my whole life. And that's from my older brothers to playing my wife in something to playing out here playing football. I think you want to win, and everybody's keeping score. No matter if it matters or not, I think winning's, you know, more fun. So that's my mentality, and I think that's what, you know, try to, you know, bring that to this team, and I think the team feels the same way.
What do you and Michael play?
Shoot, she's it could be board games. She started playing mahjong. I haven't got into that, but something like that, or playing Battleship or cards, or anything that goes on for me playing her. We picked up tennis a little bit in the off season. Try to take it easy on the shoulder a little bit, but she's picked up tennis and tried anything we can compete in. She's a great athlete.
I'm curious, what was your reaction to seeing the Keishawn Moody one-handed catch when obviously you're on the field, you say you got the best seat in the house, but I'm sure you couldn't fully see that one-handed. When you watched it back, what was kind of your reaction?
No, what a catch. I mean, what a catch. He's made time and time again, made big-time catches, and he deserves more chances, and I'm looking forward to playing with him every time I go out there. He's made some great catches on some deep balls and some intermediate routes, and I think I went over to the sideline. I always ask them if they catch it, and I always say yes, whether they catch it or not. But it was pretty cool to see that. I think whoever had a different shot of it in the snow with him making the one-handed catch, maybe an NFL Films or somebody, but it was a sweet catch and a big-time play for us.
Drake, ball security, obviously very important. Last couple of weeks, there have been some fumbles from you, unfortunately, from your perspective. What have you done in terms of soul searching to prevent that from happening in such an important game on Sunday? What have you done to work on that and make sure it doesn't happen?
Yeah, I think just work on it in practice. Just have be mindful back there and just know that my job is to protect the football, and that's every game. And I think one of the biggest things with the guys up front is my job to have a timer in my head, and those guys done a great job all year. So I haven't lost trust in those guys up front, and I know that we faced some pretty good edge rushers in the past couple of weeks, and I know we got a good another good set of edge rushers coming up this week. So just know, have a feel for it, and just protect the football, because that's my job.
Drake, you worked with Ashton Grant this season, the quarterback's coach. What have you learned from him? How has he helped you develop, and what's been a great season for you so far?
Yeah, Ashton's been awesome. He's been awesome for me just because the offense that came from last year, he was running it in Cleveland. So we've had a cool kind of experience translating the offense into kind of what we started with, and trying to get the old terminology out and kind of get the new Coach McDaniel's terminology. And he's been great. He's been great earlier in the week, kind of getting us an intro. We sit in there with the quarterbacks with him and gives an intro. We watch some stuff on tape that helps me a lot. And I think he's just good about staying positive. He's in the box here in the game, comes down at halftime, always has something good to say, always something positive to say, and he's fun. He's funny. He's always he's one of my number one hype mans, and I appreciate that about him. He's always in a good mood, and he keeps it real. I think it's the biggest thing he appreciated. He tells me when I need to do something that I need to work on, and he pumps me up a lot, which I appreciate.
You guys have done a great job this year treating every game like it's just another game. However, this one isn't. Have you allowed yourself to think about the stakes and what's at stake Sunday?
Yeah, the stakes for the past 2 weeks have been win or go home. So it's just another playoff game that we get a chance to go in a road environment that's hostile, and a great football team that's got great coaches, great defense, great players, and I think it's just another challenge for us to finish what we started. I don't think we want to stop here, and we want to keep going.
The coach is really stressed having fun out there. We saw you tossing the ball around in the field in the snow with maybe it was your brother or your wife posing for pictures. What was that moment like, and does that help relieve the stress as you're in the playoffs?
Yeah, I think just enjoying it. My wife has gotten on me because a bunch of other people have gone onto the field after the games, and we haven't yet. And I was like, all right, the last one, we'll go out there. So it was pretty cool with the snow, and just time to enjoy a win with people that I love.
You guys have really weathered the highs and the lows of playoff football in the last 2 weeks. What do you attribute that emotional maturity to from a group that really was largely didn't have a lot of postseason experience coming in? What do you think enables you guys to do that, and how do you translate it over to the playoffs on the road?
I think coaching helps. I think Coach Vrabel, being in the playing in playoff games, winning Super Bowls. Coach McDaniel's, same thing. Just having coaches that know what it's like, can prepare us for it, and just trusting what we've done all season. Coach always talks about don't change the recipe now, and I think having little tweaks and stuff here, here and there is fine. But at the end of the day, being who we are, kind of building this identity and going to show it and bring it on the road.
Josh, coach there, is there any kind of insight that he can give you, or has he given you this week, about how to operate there? And he's coached, obviously, AFC Championship games here. What kind of insight has he given you this week?
No, I think just being even better with my operation. I think last week can improve on my operation of getting out of the huddle, getting guys in the right spot, getting guys just moving with a sense of urgency. And I think that starts with me of being under center and having good operation and getting out of the huddle fast and getting the guys snapping the ball when we're ready to go. I think he's been in a lot of big time games, especially on the road in his years. So he just says just be even more intentional with the little things on the road. And obviously he played there in the altitude and everything like that. But I think more of the noise factor. He's just we're working on the silent cadence and just trying to do what what we need to do to come up with the win.
Drake, of all the high blitz defenses you've faced this year, how difficult is it to identify pre-snap, where they're going to come relative to other teams that play the way they do?
Yeah, I think they do a good job. They do a good job bringing different guys, out of base, out of sub, out of different things. So we got to be firing all cylinders with protection. In the run game, they do a good job of getting TFLs and getting after the quarterback in the passing game. So it's already tough enough job with the edge guys and the guys up front and the D line that they have. So just knowing if they heat us up, just knowing where these guys are coming from and have an idea that depending on the game's going, they could heat us up more or heat us up less, and just kind of take it from there.
One of the reasons you guys have been as productive as you've been offensively this year is you've been really aggressive down the field. Do you have to change that approach at all going against a really good pass rush unit again this weekend?
No, I don't think trying to change it. I think last week you change it and Kayshawn doesn't make the play. So little things like that are just knowing the time and place for it. I think trying to get the ball out of my hand and just being cognizant of the edge rushers and taking care of the football is the number one thing. So if we have time and have a look downfield, me, I'm going to take a look and take a shot.
Greg Olson was talking about the debate in youth sports of specialization versus multi-sport athletes, and he used you as an example. I was wondering just how playing basketball you think helped your athletic development in football.
Yeah, I played all three. Played baseball as well growing up, and just loved whatever season it was my favorite sport. And I think I got that from my brothers. They all three played them all, and just having a chance to go from season to season and finishing football season in high school and going straight to the basketball court and just playing with my high school friends and playing competitive sports. I think basketball was one of my favorites, and just having the ball in your hand and making decisions with space and seeing defenders and making split-second decisions, I think is kind of the biggest thing in basketball. You make split-second decisions, and that's my job at quarterback. You make really fast decisions, and we got to see the defense and decide if you want to pass, shoot, drive, whatever you want. And from there, I think just playing different sports and positions and playing baseball helps different stuff with my position and arm angles and seeing defenders and throwing it this certain distance and distance like that. So I love playing sports. Growing up all three and specializing. I think that's become more and more of a common thing now. And whether it's right or wrong, it kind of works for different people. But I know, Lord willing, if I have some kids, they'll be playing a bunch of sports. So look forward to that.
Drake, you had a big embrace.